Let me see. Maybe actually. Hey. Hi. Maybe you can help me. So if in case I want to recall the section, because it's in Portuguese, so I don't understand.
Okay, sure. I will just.
Yeah, when we start, just show me where to like.
Excuse me, you are? You want me? And Solange.
Solange?
I have
Friends with the last name?
you. I mean, I know this last name. I have cited you. I think I have cited you.
Oh,
yeah, with some studies about food consumption.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Okay, it's in Portuguese. It's here.
Grava means recall.
Yes,
okay.
but let me.
Hi, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Who is this? Is this
Hi, it's Fernando here, Fernandiada. We are
yeah.
recording.
Yeah.
Oi, nós já estamos gravando, tá?
Já tá?
Já está
então
gravando.
eu ia pedir para você colocar o Zoom em inglês.
I also lost my USB.
Porque eles não tá em português, eles sabem o que significa. Mas eu acho que eu teria que mudar aqui.
Não, teria que mudar aí o software daí que está instalado, né? Porque o sistema operacional está em português. Mas de qualquer modo, a gravação em si eu já comecei aqui, tá? Tá gravando na nuvem.
Okay.
Riada, Fernando
Oi.
Riada.
Sim.
I'm telling her that you are hosting the session.
Oh, okay. Good.
Vocês estão como co-host também, tá? Se precisar fazer qualquer controle aí.
Hosting, if we need anything, it's possible to do it. But as it is in Portuguese, we can ask me.
Yes. Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Thank you, Yada.
Yeah. The only one that I know, obrigado. That's the only word.
Kavita, what did she say? What Kavita say?
Okay, so I lost my USB. and
she's trying to.
She found too. So she doesn't know.
But is she coming for this session?
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Você sabe se a Kavita tá vindo? Ela pega aqui na boca. Mas será que a gente tá? Não sei, se eu for pegar a ficha para assinar, tá?
Your slides, Valerie, your slide just disappeared. So.
Yeah, no, I put off the share screen. Shall I put it back?
Yeah, please.
Oh, okay. I'll put the share screen back.
Okay.
Is that right for you?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Hello. How are you? Good. That's Anne-Marie, right?
Marianne.
Mary, from Nottingham Trent.
That's me.
Okay. My nephew studied at your university.
How did he?
Master digital marketing.
Digital marketing. Oh.
Yeah.
So he would have been in the business school.
Yeah. And you are?
In the School of Art and Design.
Oh, okay.
But I'm doing management and fashion management and marketing and yeah.
Good.
What is this session about?
Yeah. Yes.
What is this?
Hey,
Hi, this is about SCORAI strategy, is it?
yes, strategy. We discussed strategy.
For the SCORAI conference, is it?
No, for the SCORAI as an association.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm not involved, so I'm in the wrong place then.
It's not like paper presentation or.
Okay, yeah. I've confused myself.
Any kind of reflection.
Yeah.
Exactly the same time.
Take care.
Yes. See you around.
See you later.
And can you click on OK? Or can you click on OK, the blue button? Because then it goes out of the.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A pessoa tem que fazer uma frente.
Click okay, right?
Thank you. Okay. And I can't do it, say. Isso é falando diretamente. E aí, tá vendo?
Should we start? Maybe we wait for a few more minutes?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Because not even Philip is online, right?
No.
No, not yet.
Yeah.
Chama a congregação funciona. Podia tomar. Não, essa pesquisa aqui.
Aí.
Não, é, mas aí
Eu tenho que usar aqui. Ele tá na porta, não um saldo lá. Ela ensina outra vez. Não, tudo bem.
tinha esse também, quinta de manhã, então. Tipo, 8h30 da manhã, essa depois do Brasil.
Agora, informações. Não. Poder pedir todas as informações que fecham. Acho que é organização. Isso é um dos níveis que eu estou pode ser organização. Eu consigo mostrar um pouquinho. Eu tenho mais longe. O horário do posto é mais horário.
Mas eu vou botar para o posto, porque eu tenho mais confiança. Mas o quê?
Mas era
Não, sim, mas.
Mas era que as pessoas iam.
Não, mas eu digo assim, podia fazer. Agora não imagino, mas, por exemplo, podia fazer. Ou então não vai jeito. Podia fazer tipo o posto que você vai comigo, né? Um café. Aí a gente 5 horas, aí um horáriozinho, todo mundo já tá no café, já tá indo depois no centro. Eu posso ir depois, se não for assim.
Mas assim, para isso,
Em cima da hora,
você tem que estar com a cabeça só pensando nisso. Não estou mais no comércio. Entendeu? E quando eu perguntei, pode ser aqui? Pode ser desse jeito? Pode. Ah, então tá bom. Aí agora, um dia eu consegui que era desse jeito. Eu falei, desculpa. Eu estava todo dia assim, né? Eu tô desde a semana passada, todo dia com reclamação. Sabe, gente?
Tá desse jeito?
Ótimo. Para mim, você fez uma coisa. Você quis que são fascinantes. Eu tô voltando.
Nossa, eu não sabia.
Mas lógico, se não tivesse todo mundo. Eu vou passar tudo da sala só para vocês terem funcionando. Boa sorte, gente. Uma atenção para vocês. Sim. Se você não.
Shall we start?
Maybe wait. Just
Maybe 5 more minutes.
yeah, please.
People get around.
Philip, do you want to say a few words before I make the little presentation?
No.
So, Anne, whenever you want, tell me to start.
How many people are in the room?
Only 2, so 3. So we wait for another 5 minutes because people will still get around and then find rooms.
Okay, I think there's several people online.
If I may
Yeah.
ask, how many people, how has it been working so far with the hybrid format? Usually, how many people are in the room and how many online?
Online we have 12.
No, but I mean in general, throughout the conference so far.
I don't know.
Kavita has a number, right?
Yes.
Now, just to get an estimate of how long should we wait?
Mm.
Perhaps more people joining the room or something.
Just a few minutes. I mean,
Okay.
there were very few people online
Yeah, just a few minutes.
in the sessions that
Yeah,
I have been
that's what I
to.
was wondering, like in average, how many
Yeah,
people have been
yeah,
online and
yeah.
in the room?
Yeah.
Oh, I think we can go ahead, right? Okay, so we go ahead. We will start now. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the SCORAI strategy section. My name is Antu Min, and I am your moderator for today's section. It is a pleasure to see several of you here in Sao Paulo in person, and to our members joining us online, a very warm welcome to you all. Before we begin, a few logistics. Today's session will last for 90 minutes. And for those online, please keep your microphone muted while you are not speaking. You can use the chat to signal that you would like to speak up, and I will bring you in. And for those
And we cannot see you. Sorry to interrupt. We cannot see you. Can you move to the center of the? Yeah, that would be better. Yeah, that's much better.
Okay, thank you. And for those in the room, so please speak up when you want to contribute to our discussion, so the members online can hear you clearly. Okay, so we will have a recording of this section, so please be aware of that, and that is for the board reference. Today's session has a clear purpose. We have reached a strategic crossroad as an organization, and it is our opportunity to reflect back on what we have achieved and then discuss what we should go next. So our agenda today, Valerie will first give us a wrap-up of what we have achieved in the past few years, and then we'll show us the proposed strategy for the years ahead. Then we will open the floor for discussion, and I will be facilitating that conversation. So please contribute your voice, and your opinion will matter enormously here. So now I'm going to hand over to Valerie, who will give us pictures of what we have achieved for the past few years, and then a proposed strategy for the coming years. Valerie, the floor is yours.
Okay. Hello, everybody. So the first part, I'm going to remind everybody what we have done over the last couple of years, and pick up the main items that we have been. Do you see my screen, and is it working? Are you now seeing summary 2024-26?
Yes.
Okay, so during the last couple of years, we had the conference in Wageningen in 23, which was a very successful and large conference. What we have had since that time, from resources, we had a book series with Routledge, and I'm going to mention a book which was particularly important in a moment. We have reviewed and updated the website, and we try to keep it updated. Communications, the newsletter is very active and very well received. The listserv is less active than it used to be, which is a pity. We've got a couple of projects that were there and are finishing or starting. And we have several working groups, and we'd be happy to start more working groups if people were interested. And Philip did a survey of members in the last month. Our mission, I'm sure you're well aware of it. We are an international knowledge network, and we are indeed international. I will show you in a moment how we are spread out around the world. And we know that we're trying to build a flourishing and ecological sound society by changing the way we consume. We have not yet found the way to achieve transformative changes in the economy, institutions, and culture. And we recognize that technological information is not enough. So we know what our mission is. We're not necessarily managing to achieve it. This is a map of our global distribution. Obviously, there's a dominant group in North America. There's also a very strong group in Europe. But note that we also have membership spread all over the world. We have an upcoming membership in India. We have a strong membership, perhaps because of this conference, in Brazil, but in several other southern Latin American countries. We have more coming in from Asia. China has been an active member with a branch for a number of years. But we also have other Asian and Southeast Asian countries coming in to the discussion. And Australia certainly has several. Where we are weak is Africa. And you may see South Africa has some participation, but Africa on the whole is pretty weak, and so is the Middle East. A little bit to show you what our activity is. The newsletter and listserv have been increasing all the time over the years. The number of SCORAI affiliates is now almost 2,000. We have an increasing number of visits to the website. So we can say for the last 12 months, over 12,000 visitors to the website, and that is an increase, a very considerable increase on the previous year. What is very curious and interesting is that we have a very strong visits to the website coming in from France. I do not know the reason for that. United States, and then China and other countries following. So we definitely have an active partnership, an active membership, and an active following. What have been the highlights over the last couple of years? Well, the vocabulary book was definitely a highlight, a major highlight. It was also a very major project with a huge effort put into it by many members, Philip and Helena in particular, and Tom Smith. And it was done in collaboration with the Hot or Cold Institute, with joint editing and collaboration with, I think it was 74 contributors from the SCORAI network and from the Hot and Cool or Cool Institute. So it is a very major contribution and connectivity. It gives a good contribution to understanding the art and knowledge and practice. And it was accessed by 2,000 people, which is an impressive number. That was provided to us from Routledge, the publisher. The newsletter has been successful. It is continuing to expand its subscribers, and Tom Smith is its editor and the driving force behind it. And we think it has contributed much. And in the survey that recently Philip sent to everybody, it got very positive feedback. We have several working groups going. The communication working group, and Ginny is online with us. She can tell us and more about that. Is the communication WG Coco group is very active with meetings and seminars. The flourishing working group, Philip and I jointly initiated and managed that group, and we had a session on it earlier today. It is going to carry on, and it is an active group with participants all over the world. The spirituality group, Philip is a leading member of that and is an active group and can say more about it. We hope that Kira Matas may initiate another working group on sustainable fashion in the near future. We were hoping to try to initiate something on consumerism and AI, but so far we have not been able to initiate that. And if anybody's interested, please let us know. The projects which we've had, Ashley Colby has been the initiator and the coordinator of the co-creating sustainable food supply chains. I think she's online with us now. Funded by the Belmont Forum. This was also several different countries participating, and SCORAI had a major role in communications and putting it all together. It is now been finalized. We are trying to develop a project experimenting with an AI specialist platform called Buddy on the SCORAI website. It actually exists, and we encourage members to go into the SCORAI website and to try it out, but we do need more knowledge base there to make it work well. SCORAI is now, we think, it is at a crossroads. It is a mature organization. It's well known, but it has never had a secure budget, and it is operating and with volunteers devoted to it, who devote a lot of time and energy and attention working voluntarily on the executive board. But we also have to recognize that where we should focus our attention is where we can have added value, and recognize that we are on a shoestring budget and with limited time availability by the members. So what is the challenge before us? Well, we know that we now have a large body of knowledge. There is no doubt that we have built knowledge, and sustainable consumption is very much on the agenda. It is well known. But on the other hand, we're not going in the right direction. Society is moving towards more consumerism and inequality. So we know we're not achieving in practice what our mission is in front of us. So we have a knowledge base. We don't have any overall clear strategy on how to transform society. So looking at SCORAI, let's just do SWOT for a moment. What are the strengths and weaknesses, the opportunities and the threats? So the strengths are we have a very strong knowledge base and expertise. We do have a good international participation, which has been spreading and widening. We can conduct cross-country analysis. We're doing it in the Flourishing Group very successfully. And we do offer opportunities for young scholars to get on board and to get in contact with people who have the knowledge and expertise. So strengths we do have. However, there are weaknesses. We have a real problem with the lack of funding, with the time availability of the members who are active and running. Without their time, there would not be activities operating. The number of people who really are involved is rather small. So if we have 1,700 or more members, but only about 50 are really active members of the core group. And the impact that we've had so far has been quite good in research, but not really beyond that. Looking at the opportunities, we definitely have opportunities in networking. We're good at that. We're networking, we're communicating, we're contacting, we're connectivity, we're creating linkages between people, between researchers, and we're generating ideas, generating research ideas between the members. And we have more people coming on board, and we're increasingly looking at the global south. SCORAI in the past was very focused on North America, but that's not so today. Today, we definitely have a much wider look around, and we're looking at countries all over the globe. However, where we are going to lose the strengths that perhaps we've had is that Philip feels that he's not going to carry on much longer. He's not leaving us yet, but the founding members were Philip and Helena. And Philip feels that this is coming to the end of how much he's willing to really contribute time, effort. Helena will carry on for the moment. I have to add that I'm not so young either. So there, I will be also at some point in time saying, that's it. And we all don't have real enough time for active involvement. So the question is, how we can be effective, how we can really use our abilities, and which direction should we go to? So these are the options that we have thought about and putting on the table. But if you have options and different directions, then please come in the discussion, please raise them. We suggest that the next global conference, and we do think global conferences are worthwhile and important. We are considering the next global conference in North America, possibly in Canada. The possibility of having a smaller, not a major conference, but small-scale workshops in other countries, especially if we could do something in the global south, and possibly India may come up with a proposal there. We don't have any fundraising at the moment, and we really are in a difficulty in order to keep activities. So if anybody has any ideas about fundraising for people and projects to increase our activity, that would be very welcome. Another opportunity, possibly a different direction, would say we can't go it alone. Perhaps we should partner with someone else, with some existing organization. We don't know whom, but that's a possibility. And if nothing else works well, then we may land up having to scale down activities to what we can manage. So these are the board members, and we are all active in generating and operating various activities. Philip will carry on, even though he wants to resign from the board itself, but he said he will carry on with working groups, and he was a major force behind the vocabulary project. Liz, I'm sorry that's jumped a line. Liz was very active in supporting conferences and newsletter through many years, but is going to resign. Helena says she will stay on and keep on with finances. Sumit, who has joined us from India and will particularly focus on increasing activity in Global South. Myself, I'm with the Flourishing. I'm also very active with the website and trying to try out an experiment with the AI. Ashley was responsible for the Belmont project and social media. Ginny is with us here, and she is the liaison with SCORAI Europe, as well as being the working group of communication. Tom is going to continue with the newsletter, and he's also an active member together with me on the website, and he will continue those, but he's going to retire from the board itself. Kira, who is from Hong Kong, was active in helping operating the survey, and she has suggested perhaps a fashion working group, and she is contributing the views from East Asia. Anne, who is the coordinator of this session now, is hosting this session, has suggested that she has joined the board, and she has suggested, and we are very supportive of this suggestion, is that perhaps the next conference in a couple of years will be in Canada. I also want to recall Robert, who is in Berlin. He is our listserv website and AI manager. So we have some questions for discussion. Do you think we should continue the global conferences and another conference? Do you like the idea of a conference in 2028 in Canada? Would you like to join us and be active in regional specific topical workshops, perhaps in India or elsewhere, could be? How can we enhance discussion on the listserv? Because the listserv is not very active. It's used for announcements, but it used to be a good discussion network, but it isn't active at the moment. We would like to see more activity in the website. We do our best to keep it updated and active. And if anybody wants to come in with a new working group, we would be very happy to see that. It needs leadership. It does take time and energy. And there, please join us. And that's where you can get in touch with, and I will stop the screen share and turn it back to Anne.
Right. Thank you very much, Valerie. And your presentation gave us a very clear picture of what we have achieved, and especially the SWOT show us the strength that we can build on, some opportunity that we can take, and the new challenges ahead of us. I would like to invite all of you to contribute to our discussion. Can you, Valerie, can you show us the list of questions you would like us to? So you have a list of questions, right?
A list of questions. Then I'll put the share screen back on. Then.
Yeah, please.
I will be there.
Yeah. Let's see. It's okay. I think near the end, right?
There we are.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I would like to invite everyone to maybe brainstorm some ideas, some conversation about the questions. The first thing is organize the next global conference.
Yes.
Would you like to?
Hello, everyone. I'd like to have you here with us, but as it wasn't possible, let's discuss a little bit using technology through internet. Yeah, I thought last time that we met in the Netherlands, that we would start meeting globally each 3 years. And now I have this information about 2028. Could you just explain a little bit more if we will continue our meetings every 3 years, or we'll return to the two every 2 years as before? The first question.
Well, I can say something about it. These reasons to do it every 2 or 3 years are very pragmatic, in the sense that if you find an organizing institution, and especially organizing person, and a group of people who says we can do it in 2 years, and there are no overriding reasons not to do it in 2 years, we would like to have it every 2 years to enable to basically to keep the dynamics going. But in several cases, 2 years was not feasible, so it became 3 years. So we call it now bi- or tri-annual global conference. That's the simple answer. And in this case, Anne is exploring the possibility of a conference in Calgary in Canada, and she can speak for herself, but she has been very clear that 2 years for her would be a good time frame.
Yes. Okay. So when I put forward the idea of organizing the next conference in 2028, there are some valid reasons for that. The first thing is the federal government of Canada is encouraging sustainability researchers to network with global organizations, and they set up a fund which is called SSHRC, so which means Social Science and Humanity Research Council Connection Grant, which we can apply, and the cycle is 2 years, right? Mm-hmm. So if we apply in May 2027, we can organize. We have to disperse, the fund by July 2028. That is the first thing. The second thing is ASAT, which I am a member. So ASAT stands for Administrative Science Association of Canada. That is the biggest national association with gather all researcher in business education, management education, marketing, and also of course sustainability things. So we can collaborate with them on that. And also the tourism auditor also have a fund which is called community event. So we can apply, to get funding from both federal and provincial government. Mm-hmm. And I think that is a good opportunity for us to, to first of all, introduce a global SCORAI common to Canadian community and federal government and provincial government. I think that is the right time, because if we want to organize in 2029, we will miss that opportunity.
Okay, I see.
So that's yeah.
Okay, because it took more than 2 years for us to organize here. Mm-hmm. And the other thing that as you can see, people from Europe or from the global north were not very encouraged to come. I think it's because of the carbon print, generated by the flight.
Yes.
So it's a very good discussion, because we work with sustainable consumption, and people are not wanting to get together,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, right.
That's it. I don't know.
And I just want to give a context of my university, my institution. So that is Mount Royal University, and actually they are, by tradition, this is a teaching focused institution. But recently we want to build a research culture, and that's why we are encouraging national and global conference to come to Calgary, and we are ready to host conferences. So we just hosted the biggest national conference in on campus. It's happened in the last week of May this year, and we attracted more than 800 submissions, and like we have 700 participants. So Calgary is a strategic location because we are very close to Rockies Mountains, and we have a lot of attraction close by, just less than 1 hour, and you will get there. And we have tourism Alberta to support us, so we can have a lot of discount and also funding, as I mentioned before, community event and a connection grant. So that's why that is a suggestion. So I want to build on the dynamic of just have a very successful event this year. So we jump in and then put an idea about a global conference, because if we miss that, the other organization will jump in and then get the funding. So that's why.
Okay, thank you. I think there are some questions through chat there.
Yeah, to chat.
Yeah.
Let me check.
Yes.
Let me check the chat. So we have a question to the organizing committee in Brazil. Maybe Kavita can answer the question. So how many are presently attending in person in the current conference? I'm not sure, but I think yesterday Kavita mentioned that the conference received 91 submissions, right?
115.
115 submission. And how many submissions were selected?
I know. You mean the whole? No, this is the submissions. I don't know, but the subscriptions. It was 115.
115.
Yeah, but the submissions. I don't know this number. Let's see if I can talk to her.
Yes, you check with Kavita. Yeah. And you have any idea how many people are attending in person?
I would like to comment on the question of global conference versus regional topical workshops. Maybe we can, for the next conference, we could combine the two ideas, to have a global conference with a particular focus on regional topics. The Flourishing Working Group has shown that by comparing the several country profiles, is that in order to understand what drives consumption and what drives consumption on a small footprint is very deeply embedded in a local culture. So we could have a conference that has that particular focus, culture and consumption and lifestyles, something like that. And in the meantime, during those 2 years, we could possibly have one workshop that Sumyayat is interested in organizing about India, which is a very interesting and unusual in some ways case study. We learned from an early session this morning because of the caste structure, which will be not legally supported, but it's still culturally deeply rooted in India. So something like that. But we still have a problem of funding. And in the US, it's extremely hard to get funding for sustainable consumption.
Right. Yeah, I understand. So let me share a little bit more about Mount Friend. So recently we set up what we call annual sustainability forum. So we organize that forum every October, and that has been a huge success. Also, we are a member of Sustainability Network of Canada. So I think with the support from the institution and the Sustainability Network Canada, I think there is a very high chance that we can get funding from the federal government. But we have to make a quick decision, because I have to submit, prepare proposal, get institutional support to be able to submit the full proposal by early March 2017. And then we will hear the outcome by May 2017, and then we will follow by a call for submission. I think we have enough time if we act. Great. Yes. Okay. Right. Have you managed to connect with?
I'm trying.
Okay. Right. Okay. So okay. So we don't have many people here. So any members online that want to maybe contribute ideas, or maybe to ask more questions about the global conference?
Yeah, about and also for the regional topical workshops are fun, right?
Yes, regional topical workshops. So is Sumit online, or anyone from India online?
No, Sumya Yit from India is not online at this moment, so we have to wait for another time. If I may, I would like to shift the discussion to the possibility of new working groups. I think that each of the participants in this meeting has a specific expertise in sustainable consumption and lifestyles. So it's not that difficult to launch the idea of a working group through the listserv. That's another thing. If we could have more participation in the listserv, in the sense of each of us launching an idea. One of this idea is on fashion, and one is on IE and consumerism. They are already mentioned here. But there are many others, including regional working groups on specific cultures. For instance, Halina mentioned India and the caste system. Another issue that Sumya mentioned was India and the enormous quickly change of the extended family, 80% to the nuclear family, 80% now of all the families in just 20 years or so. So that's a huge change. It's pretty easy, I think, for somebody in India to organize a workshop about the issues related to consumption and consumerism. Another possible subject is what Edina mentioned yesterday. That is, she had a beautiful term for it, which this is incidental 1.5 degree lifestyles. People who thought they were very living on a very frugal life, but now they find out that they are living a very sustainable life. And even in a well-developed country as Hungary, it is apparently possible to live a 1.5 degree lifestyle without really feeling very poor. So my short point is, and I would like to brainstorm a little bit in this group, are there other ideas of working groups or workshops coming from this particular group of people as we are together here? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. I have an idea about the new working group. So Valerie mentioned that we although we have a large body of knowledge, we still have limited impact beyond publication. So as a teacher, like in the classroom. So I embarked on some project focusing on sustainability integration in business education, especially in marketing education. Like in marketing, we often teach our students to maximize profit, and of course, to increase consumption. Right. So we have set up one group in my institution focusing on sustainability integration in marketing education specifically, and in business education in general. So I think like by researching about how we can teach about sustainability in our classroom, we can amplify the impact of our research, through teaching and learning. So that is my ideas, and I just want to throw out this idea for your discussion, for the further discussion.
I think it is a great idea, if I may reply, we as SCORAI have a book series that was not even mentioned earlier. Our last book is part of that series, and in an earlier book of the series, actually there are two books that are extensively focusing on classroom educational programs, examples, case stories, etc., etc. I think that we as SCORAI could do a much better job, not only to disseminate the existence of those books, but also to set up local notes or other activities to basically educate the educators. I think it's a great idea.
Thank you. Thank you, Philip. And any ideas from you guys?
I'm just trying to catch up because I arrived late. Hi, Philip. This is Patrick.
Hi.
Can you hear me all right?
Can you hear me? Yeah.
I was just saying. Hi, Philip. I was just saying I was catching up
Patrick.
because I was in a different session, but so the idea is do we have a next conference next year? Sorry, I'm not trying to derail the conversation because I was just reading this slide here.
We may have a next conference in 2 years in Canada. So that we are exploring that possibility very actively. Thank you, Anna's doing.
In China or Europe next year? The open chapters?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That
They can see you. Stay here. No, they cannot see you.
Philip knows also well how I look like.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I also don't want to derail the conversation because you were just saying you want to integrate it more into your into the teaching, right?
Yeah.
And marketing related things.
But not only in marketing, across all disciplines, which we have at my institution, we set up a working group, which is called Sustainability Coalition, and we exchange ideas about how to integrate sustainability and especially sustainable development goals into our teaching.
Yeah, I know from University of Surrey, where I did my PhD, that they actually try to integrate sustainability teaching in all of the undergrad courses, and I think that is the way forward. And maybe SCORAI could do something like a teaching booklet, or maybe even draw on your on your book theories, Philip, to just demonstrate how to insert teaching into wider teaching. So not only consumption marketing, but also maybe even engineering and other things, where it's more of a side gig usually. So maybe that could be a way forward and more.
Yeah.
And draw on also on your work with Lewis, Philip, from Hot or Cool.
Can I throw a little explosive into this conversation? Do you think we can teach people how to live sustainably, how to generate a high quality of their own lives while consuming modestly? Can it be taught, or is it, as the flourishing group is pointing out, is just deeply embedded in a culture? In which case, the global north is a lost cause, and maybe we should focus on the countries that have rapidly changing technology, GDP, and also pressures on the existing cultures to adapt to it. Maybe that's the hope for the globe, rather than trying to teach our students about sustainability. I'm not against doing it, but is that the way to change on a large scale the system of consumption?
There's not only one way, right? We have to probably activate as many levers as possible. Yeah, I think Alina, you're pointing to something important there, right? Because I sometimes have that experience when I speak to people in the global south about degrowth or post-growth, not even sustainable consumption, but about more radical approaches, let's say, and that's definitely not welcome, especially not when a person from the global north speaks about it. So we have to be very careful there. But maybe that's, we can start with sustainable consumption and try to understand how we can actually help them to avoid the same mistakes and not become yet another lost cause. I think that's what you.
Yeah. Well, which means that perhaps we should not be talking when we want to create a system of more sustainable consumption. Talking about consumption is not the door through which we should enter. The door through which we should enter is quality of life. And how can we design the infrastructure in a way, and the economic institutions in a way that people will achieve quality of life, not necessarily through big consumption, but talking about it is, of course, people in the global south are going to say, you're patronizing us, and that's not what we want. Of course.
But maybe it comes down even to the terminology that we keep on using, It's like this conversation, I'm sorry for what I'm going to say, but it's the same conversation we've been having for the last 10, 15, even not 20 years of conferences and meetings. And as long as we continue talking about global north and global south, we're not going to go anywhere. For starters, it creates a mess in people's heads because it's like, wait, how come that Australia is global north? How come New Zealand is global north? That's already changing some mindset. They say like, oh, it's the most industrialized country. So in many ways, it's not even about teaching at school and having a program on sustainability, because many schools already have what they call environmental education. But what about the basic civic education? That is like, like the basics of systems thinking, for example, to see how your actions actually have a consequence beyond that. It's not only about you playing the Temu app to buy, stuff for the heck of buying it, but actually it's like, okay, think what that means in terms of the energy that you're using, in terms of, it goes down also to the idea of what is the aspiration, like the aspirational lifestyles. And we had this conversation many years ago on going around like the difference between lifestyles and livelihoods. And I think that as long as we continue talking about north, south, how to teach people to live better, it's like, okay, what will we try to change a little bit in ways to see like, how are we living today that is having a less impact? What ways of living are those that can be, shared in a way that it becomes mainstream? And this is the thing, that is this constant push and pull. But as long as we keep using the same terminologies, we are not going to go anywhere. And yes, the question is always like, oh, what do you propose? I think this is the value of conferences like this one. It's not about me proposing something or about us as SCORAI just proposing a different term. It's like, okay, how can we create a more understanding of these concepts in wording that resonate in a way that is not creating this divide anymore. And this is our challenge. And I think this is what we should be doing at this conference, to say, hey, this is what we are proposing. The vocabulary project was a huge step ahead. I mean, I am super happy when I see that more people are referring to it, because it is opening the door to terminologies that many people were not aware of before. But this is just a teeny tiny pinch. So it's like, the question is, how do we go forward? And back to these questions on the board right now, how is it, do we continue to organize global conferences? Well, yes, because that's how we get on talking. The question is like, how are we going to make them in a way that are more inclusive without, compromising our footprints or whatever it is that impedes people from going from A to B. But I've been talking a lot. So Ashwani, I see your hands up as well.
Thank you. Thank you. I absolutely agree. I think we're catching one end of a stick that is really a multi-pronged star. There are many legs to this. You can't, I've said this before, you can't talk about consumption without talking about demand creation. Okay? There are 3,500 odd billionaires in the world. All right? And they're distributed across US, China, and India. So this North-South thing, I agree, is absolutely a done deal. It's gone. Everybody's aspiring to be living a Western life in India. Everybody. When I was in India till 1984. You had to sign up your child for a car when they were born, because there was a quota. Now, every family in Delhi has at least 3 cars. The consumption game is over. If we don't take a systems approach to this and look at the whole of it, consumption, marketing, production, persuading, this is not a new thought. Vance Packard wrote books on this in the 50s. The Wastemakers, Hidden Persuaders, I read both of them in India. All right, so these are well-known ideas, but we are not using them.
I can't testify.
You, Ashwani. So, anybody want to contribute? I can share some example about how we integrate sustainability and sustainable consumption principles into our classroom in Canada. So at my institution, Mount Royal University, we are very proud to prioritize what we call experiential learning and work integrated learning. So every semester we are collaborating with local organization, community group, local businesses, and we focus a lot more on sustainability focused organizations. So for example, last semester, I worked with Homegrown Arts and Media Collective, and we set, instead of doing this assignment and final project and final exam, we introduce what we call sustainability focused project into the classroom. So we collaborate with that community group to introduce inclusiveness and sustainability principle into growing art community in Alberta province. So the whole Alberta province, not only Calgary. And previously we worked with IKEA, global giant in furniture retailing, and we worked with them to relaunch a new loyalty program which reward sustainable consumption behavior in Canada. So I think these are some examples that we can introduce or teach our students about, like sustainability principles, sustainable consumption. And these young people, they have a lot of energy. They want to learn, they want to engage, but they don't know what direction. So I think as researcher and educator, we have responsibility to guide them. As first we engage them in conversation, then we engage them in action, so they can, so we can amplify our impact, not only in publication we publish, but we don't expect people from all world of life to read our articles, so only read scholar and researchers. So by engaging younger generation into sustainable consumption through classroom activity and project, I think that is a good way to create what we call cohesion too.
Sorry, Philip, you have your hand up. I think. Do you want to come first? I can't put my hand up. Oh, you can actually see me.
Yeah,
I can't put my hand up. Okay, but you go first. Philip?
Who's first?
You go first.
You go first.
Okay. Yeah, what Anne says really speaks to me, and maybe it's something that we can bring into the next conference as a sort of an experiential learning model, as an example for what we can do. I was thinking of what Ashwani said earlier about systems thinking, and we need a complete transformation. And I think that degrowth is really our big brother here. And the way I see the degrowth movement is that they look both at the macro level of the economy and try to develop a different idea of an economic system. I don't know how successful they have been there. And also on the micro level, local economies can be very sustainable and very, very integrated. I think that the real challenge is on the intermediate level of the institutions, of the big institutions, of the intermediate institutions, which are dominated by the status quo, which are dominated by big business interests and financial interests, and which also the physical infrastructure, of course, which is not so easy to change from a car structure to something more innovative. So I think that at this moment, we don't have a clear theory of change, although we tried in our book in the introduction. And but focusing not only on the small scale activities or on the big picture, but also on what's going on with the banks, with the agencies, with the political systems on the city level. And there, for instance, Kate Raworth has done some great work. But if we talk about consumption and consumerism, we have to look where the physical and non-physical infrastructure is that support our consumption habits. Let me leave it at that.
Yeah, also to draw a little bit on Ashwani's and sorry, forgot your name. And Anne's comment, because I think there is an opportunity to bring them together in a way. And I think what Ashwani said about bringing in also more of an infrastructure or agency enabling perspective, perhaps. I think that is quite interesting, and I want to actually finish that reflection with a question more for you guys, especially from the board. I see a lot of potential to work more as part of SCORAI on knowledge into action. And I wondered if, looking back to the last couple of years, if you feel that the ARI in SCORAI, if that has been discussed or addressed enough. So, the action research initiative, really all the knowledge that we accumulated, have we had enough success in turning it into action? And by action, I mean influencing businesses to help provide the necessary structures, infrastructures, the necessary services, to actually help people unlock their more sustainable consumption. Do you think that we have done a good job there, or is there still a lot of potential to be exploited? Because I just want to add, I agree that we need more knowledge, but what actually is missing is action, right?
Yeah, Patrick, if I may answer, and maybe Valerie will say something about AI. I personally put action in the name of SCORAI when we started and invented and were brainstorming about the name Sustainable Consumption Research and Action Initiative. So this was, over the years, we have had numerous workshops addressing the A of SCORAI, bringing together researchers and practitioners. And you very quickly end up in sectors like housing, transportation, food, leisure, and fashion, and so on, which is great. And I think we should do more of that. We lost a little bit of our this were the crossroads where Valerie was earlier talking about. We lost a little bit of our maybe it is faith in the transformative power of SCORAI. In the beginning, we were more believing that if we understand why we consume and what drives us to consume and the forces that pushes us to consume, we would be able to maybe make changes. And what we have become is an organization that organizes conferences, which brings in all kinds of new people, which is great, and give people the possibility of presenting their research. But what we have not done so far, Patrick, and others, is to organize topical workshop where we again, with a few people, forward thinking, out of the box thinkers, think about what about action? What is missing? Yes, we need to understand the system. Otherwise, we know that the system needs to be changed. Okay. We also know we need small scale initiatives. Otherwise, nothing will change. Also, we need to understand the power and disrupt the power structures, but we have no idea how. And we are fighting against an enemy that has all these billionaires and now trillionaires soon, and who basically dominate the economy. And now increasingly we have these future visions of Elon Musk and what's his name, of the AI guy, Sam Altman, who basically think that technology is going to make us happy. We'll solve all our problems. This was always the vision of the technology, but it is becoming much more dominant now. So here we are talking about visioning. Here we are talking about an alternative vision. And I think that the Flourishing Group makes a nice start with sort of trying to understand why some countries are more happy than others on a smaller footprint. But we are only scratching the surface here. So yes, Patrick, if you are interested to organize together with whoever else, maybe me, a workshop on the A of SCORAI, the action part of SCORAI, I would welcome that.
I love the way that you're very convincing, but I think yeah, we can discuss it separately.
Thank you. Yes, so maybe we
Yes,
last one. So go ahead.
Ashwan,
You are guilty.
Yes, I am. Sorry. So just as a point of context, we all talk about utopia and dystopia. Kevin Kelly, the fellow that started the magazine Wired, wrote a piece on protopia, which is neither perfect nor imperfect, neither heaven nor hell, in between. doing what you can where you can. The idea of transforming society is way too grand for any organization to think of. You're not going to transform society. You can make dinky little pokes. You can change a few things here and there. And being satisfied with that should be enough. To get to sustainable consumption in terms of lifestyle and so on and so forth, you really have to talk about breaking the hold of the single bottom line. We call it capitalism in the West, people call it other things. The fact that we value everything by money, how do you change that? That's ingrained for hundreds of years. Everything comes down to money. So if it's money that's driving it, then consumption is the only way to show national progress. GDP becomes the metric. Buy more. George Bush said this after 9/11. Go out and shop. That's what we're up against. If we want to work towards sustainable consumption and lifestyles, that's the target. I'll stop there.
Right, thank you. Jeannie, yeah, you next.
Yes, thank you, Shani. Actually, I just wanted to read Ashley's comment because she cannot really speak a lot right now. For those who are in the room, Ashley was saying about the missing middle that Philip mentioned. She said, we could focus all our work and workshops on exploring leverage points at institutional level. I agree with the question about turning research into action. This was the goal of the Belmont project, but we need more funding on these things, which is especially hard in the US right now. Would be grateful if someone could read my question. So that's what I did. I just read your question, but I also wanted to elaborate on that, and it's connected to what Ashwani was just saying. In many ways, we can say that the commitment is there. The intention to, let's say, live differently, it's out there. The intention to magnify, to make sure that that we can make this message that, hey, living good with less is possible known requires getting on the same channels, on the same level in which consumption is also being promoted. But B, Ashley just pointed in here, it always comes down to the funding, and it's the same situation we have for organizing conferences and everything else. So it goes down to the monetary issue. A lot of us, and I think most of us in SCORAI are involved in a voluntary basis, right? But that is also part of the drawback on to what extent it is possible, for example, to really go deep into these topics and to strengthen this without having, the means to pay the bills. So in many ways, it will be also an interesting part of the discussion. And going back to the point that was mentioned earlier, what are the fundraising ideas that are out there? How can just really maintain some, like the alive? How can we make it grow? And in what ways can we also decouple this knowledge and this, passing on this information, passing on this message that, hey, living with less, it's possible, or living as we're living today? Because a lot of people, they say, hey, what do you want me to, like this discovery that your actual footprint, it's not as high, because some people are already living like that, repairing, replacing, if we want to go circularity and so on. So it is also coming down as an invitation to our creativity. In what ways can we really ensure the continuation of our activities, the amplification of our activities as an action network, without having to be so dependent on funding? Because in the end of the day, we are kind of back to the same system that is making everything depending on money, right? So yeah, I think it is also trying to go back to the issue of the conferences and the workshops, because I'm also quite aware of the time. So I think one of the ideas of this session is not only to open the book about everything that we've been doing together as a network, but also invite the network to see where are we going next? What are our next steps? Now we see the giant that we have. It feels like an uphill battle all the time. We have one step forward, two back. We start, and then it's like more consumption, more possibilities, more ads, whatever, social media, however you want to call it. That is just like changing mindsets towards keep on acquiring things. Okay. Given this changing scenario, how do we move forward as a community with big limitations in terms of we don't have enough funding to continue with our activities, but we are a bunch of really ingenious people committed to the cause as well. So I think that we should use the last minutes, if you all agree, to try to see what are our next steps. How can we move a little bit forward to what we're doing right now? And again, thank you to organizers in Brazil. I think I didn't mention that earlier, but for giving us the opportunity to be there with you and to bring these very important issues to the table. I think it is what makes conference like this so, so important.
Right. Thank you, Jeannie. Yeah, so we have about 15 minutes left. And I agree with Jeannie that we need to really focus our conversation on the strategy. So the theme that stand out in our strategy is the need for more active members and fundraising. So we need people willing to step forward with time and energy. And also we need to come up with some idea for fundraising so we can continue our mission and amplify our impact. So any idea from anybody here? Please raise your hand.
For fundraising in particular?
Fundraising and also like active involvement from.
Fundraising, active involvement.
Yeah, so I've been thinking, so I think that together we can work on a list of funding opportunity from each countries.
To do what? To fund the conference? To fund what exactly?
Yeah. To fund community event like I mentioned before, like federal government of Canada have connection grant, which I believe that we are eligible for applying. So I don't know. I just we want to gather info from everyone, and from SCORAI members. So from many countries. So like for example, I know Canada, so I can have a list of funding that we can apply. And then I also I'm from Vietnam, so I also can work out a list. So we can have some sources of finance to continue our work. That's one idea. Just
Ashwani has his hand up again.
Yeah. So Ashwani, can you please unmute yourself? Yes.
Sure. About active participation. If the 2 points I made today have any resonance with SCORAI, I would love to be involved. One, that it's not just about consumption, but about demand creation. And if we don't look at that end of the stick, we're missing the boat. And two, transformation is too utopian. I'll stop there.
Right. Thank you.
I think Philip is next one.
Philip?
Okay, Ashwani, thank you. Please write these ideas in the next newsletter and on the listserv to create this discussion, because I'm not entirely sure if I understood you well. I will certainly not be able to act on it if I don't read it. So that would be my suggestion. What I wanted to say is that SCORAI once had a grant of $100,000 from the Rasmussen Foundation in America, which was a windfall, not only because there were no strings attached. They basically said, we love what you're doing and please continue to do it. So you're able to do a whole lot of things, including a seminar with invited speakers and but then of course this money ran out, and the follow-up of this Rasmussen Foundation was the KR Foundation. Probably many of you know that. And we have been courting the KR Foundation since the conference in Copenhagen way back. But nothing ever came out of it. Our friends in Hot or Cool were a little bit more successful with them. Also some colleagues in Vancouver were able to get some funds. What I try to say is there are very few foundations who are interested in financing vague things as sustainable consumption and lifestyles. So we are very curious to learn from Anne how you frame these issues in a way that they become fundable. One thing is that workshops and conferences are easier to fund than organizations. That's one thing we learned. So if we have some good ideas of some good workshops with some excellent experts from around the world to come together, that's really a fundable proposition. Funding a working group is already much harder, I think. So let me leave it at that for now, for the record.
Maybe just very quickly, Philip, because you mentioned degrowth movement earlier, and we also heard the word strategy now. What degrowth scholars very often do is they use the book by Eric Olin Wright on real utopias as a source. And he developed also later in his work 3 different strategies on how to actually drive change. Then some other degrowth scholars added a 4th one. I don't know if that is something we want to do, if that is something, where we can draw on. It's just me thinking out loud and also not volunteering here, exclamation mark. But it is just something perhaps that, where we can learn from. You don't have to replicate anything. We don't have to reinvent the wheel, but maybe we can replicate some things or draw on existing work that's actually also created in a fairly short amount of time. A very strong movement, because there are, that the degrowth conferences are very well attended. So there is a lot of interest in the topic. But again, just thinking out loud here.
Yeah, and Eric Online Right, we actually invited him as part of this grant that we got when he was still alive. And he gave a fantastic presentation, which should still be on the website, I hope. This is many years ago. What you're basically saying is let's study the interstitial strategy and what he wrote about. And he himself started a whole movement with activities on a whole lot of campuses. I don't know what happened to them. We could actually have a small working group looking into that and learn from it. It's a great idea. Yes, there is a comment by Mark Reeder. Maybe he wants to speak up.
Thank you, Philip. I just thought I'd add that I really like the idea of online accessible regional workshops that are reasonably frequent, and it would seem like a very valuable contribution to me.
Thank you.
If I may make another point, another suggestion, and it also brings us back to the issue of the conferences and the workshops, and is the relevance of bringing aboard young scholars. And I mean scholars because we're a research network, but the younger generation of researchers, they are the ones who can have more leverage to really bring this, let's say, message across to the younger consumers and, to their peers. So if we are to go intergenerational, because look at our group. I think at least for what we see online and what the people in the room, we are already covering several generations, right? So I think it is very important that we really harness the power of the younger generation who speaks the language of the tools that are, driving these demands, as Shrani was saying. And then we can already start analyzing and working together and how to reframe the discourse in a way that it stops being a discourse and becomes a little bit more of action. And also because the younger generations are more transboundary than we are. And this also an opportunity, a huge opportunity to really create these bridges in which you can have people from different parts of the world and they are all connected in a kind of same way of communicating. So much better than we do these days, or at least people of my generation for calling it somehow, you know what I mean. But yeah, that would be another food for thought that I think that could go hand in hand with these regional workshops to ensure that there is always the younger researchers have an opportunity to join. That is not only about PhDs, because that is like what I see that is happening in a lot of conferences, that now the level is that you're a PhD researcher. But what about that are still doing the masters? So we should open the door to the younger voices as well, perhaps not in the academic level contribution, but why not? So just like really open the door to see what bringing, yeah, those that are starting their careers on board would bring.
Thank you, Jeannie. Yeah, I really liked that idea. Yeah. So I think we can collaborate, so we can open something like a mentoring scheme, something like that. So to invite a younger researcher as master or PhD and even bachelor honors pathway to join us. Yeah. Check the time. So we have 5 minutes left.
All right, let's go to the next session.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Right. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining online. Good to see some familiar faces.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks. And if I may, just to seize this 3 minutes to thank again or the organizers and all the people who were providing ideas, but also to make a short commercial break, because the working group on communication is hosting a session tomorrow, and it's we have been having these quarterly meetings for over 2 years already with different topics and different members of the SCORAI network presenting their ideas, presenting the projects, and bringing them to the community precisely to have this action component forward. So tomorrow we are having it as a back-to-back or as a part of this conference. We will have our second cross-pollination session of this year on the topic of SDG communication. So we would like to invite you all. It will be moderated online mainly because unfortunately none of the chairing committee members of the working group could make it to Brazil, even though we all wish we were there. But still, everybody is welcome to join tomorrow at 3 p.m. Brazilian, so 8 p.m. Central European. And yeah, and I pass it on to you. Sorry, I just took the last 2 minutes of the session to promote another SCORAI session. So.
Thank you very much, everyone. It has been a very rich and in-depth conversation. I hope that we have a recording, right? We do have a recording.
Yeah,
yeah, I think so.
And may I say a few words? Anne?
Please.
Oh, you're not. You're not looking at me. That's why I hesitate. So I would like to thank the organizers of this conference, and especially in this case, Anne, for chairing this session on behalf of the SCORAI board. The SCORAI board is in transition, and we didn't mention it yet, but Anne is our newest member. We know her from the Flourishing Working Group that presented this morning. And now we have her on board. And she is also, as you know, hopefully the next organizer of the next global conference. There's all kinds of new ideas that came partially out of this meeting. So on behalf of the SCORAI board, who organized this strategy session, I would like to thank you all. And also especially Valerie, who presented the introduction. And a big applause for Valerie and for Anne for making this possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone, and we wish you and our organization on the best forward. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, now we end the section. How do you end the section? Just yeah. Yep.
Okay, so it looks like Brazil is now offline. So yeah, we are having the next cross-pollination session tomorrow in case you want to join.
I unfortunately have to apologize. I have a medical appointment that I cannot miss. So
Yeah, no, it
but,
was one of these very confusing situations. So we managed, like Kavita and her team were like, yeah, you can make it open to the world. So I'm like, perfect, thank you very much. So here we go. Cross-pollination session organized over the weekends. It will be Stefan and I hosting the whole thing. So everybody who would like to join us, because we had the outline of the topic. So I don't know if you cannot join us, Philip, maybe Helena would like to join or anyone else that is online. It will be fantastic to have you all on board.
we are so grateful that you continued this tradition of the
Yes,
communication
whenever
working
it's
group.
possible. It
And
is, yeah.
do you know
So
anything about Valentina and her activity, the
yes,
SCORAI?
it is really taking pace. Like you have to see the program. I mean, like Valentina right now, it is in a whirlwind. So it's hard to pin her because they actually managed to put together a very nice program. They have a program for kids. They have a cultural program, academic one, discussion. So it's really, really nice. They have support from the city. So yeah, I'm really
And
looking forward to listen.
it all happens next week.
Tomorrow, actually. I think it
Oh.
starts, let me see, because it is happening like shortly after the conference.
Because it would be nice to write a little bit on a listserv to make people aware.
It starts on Friday, so it's over the weekend. So
okay, can you make it happen that something is written for the listserv? Because
sure, I think
it was so quiet, and I didn't dare to ask Valentina how her things are going.
Yeah, she's been promoting it mainly on social media. That's exactly
Yeah.
what I mean about the intergenerational communication, like Instagram, Instagram posts and so on. So I'm like, okay, yeah, great. But yeah,
let's
I will
forget SCORAI. Yeah.
Yeah,
Either
I
she
know.
or
So
you. Yeah.
So I'll ask her to please post something.
No, I was thinking of Valentina because the communication working group started more than 10 years ago in Vienna, where Valentina, Ginny, and I met for the first time, and it has been going strong ever since. So it actually started as a UNEP activity, I think, and it was eventually.
It was a fundraising activity. We had two proposals that wanted to be sent. Remember the one on education, one on communication?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's over 10 years ago. We were young and naive. Anyway, thank you so much, Philip. Good best of luck with your meeting tomorrow.
Nice. Great to see you. And sorry about tomorrow, but we see
No, it's
each other.
fine. I mean, whoever
Yeah.
can join will be the right people to be there. So
yeah,
all the
and
best
I see
tomorrow.
other people. Hadassah is still on the line. Hi, Hadassah.
Hi, Hadassah. Anyway, so I also need to jump out. Like a nice.
Yeah,
have to bring her
me
to bed.
also. Okay.
I'll see you
Bye-bye.
later. Bye.